Hello, beautiful. Long time no see. It's been a minute since I made a video, and really what happened was I get really into creating things and not so into recording things. As I was setting this up today and thinking about why haven't I made a video in a while, I remembered it's a lot of work. I was feeling inspired and had a cool project to work on, so I thought, why not? I'm going to be doing a collaboration post with friends of characters that are in the Tolkien verse, really Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. If you are watching this on YouTube and see the title, then you already have the spoilers, but if not, I've given a little bit of a hint as to the character that I'm looking to portray, so I'll give you a second to try to guess if you have not already, and again, have not already read the title or description. The answer is Smaug. I love a dragon, and it's been on my list to create cosplays of humanoid dragons because I really didn't want to do anything that required like crafting a head or claws or full dragon scale-esque looks. Hopefully this inspires me to create some of the other dragons that I'm looking to cosplay, such as Saphira from the Aragon series or the Inheritance cycle. So for this look, we are really just doing a collaboration post on Instagram, which just means I'm not getting together with folks to do a proper photo shoot. We're taking our own self-portraits. What I kind of figured out was for this cosplay, I already have a base dress that I think is gonna work great. So I really just have to worry about adding in the makeup, adding in the horns, and adding in the eye color. Eye color, I was going to order some contacts. That just didn't end up working out. So I'm going to use Photoshop just for that aspect of this. For the creative makeup, I was heavily inspired by the girl Born of Flames on Instagram. She did a dragon look cosplay for Taryn from Fourth Wing. I really love the direction that she did with that makeup, so that's going to be a heavy source of inspiration for what I put together. And then the horns, which I do have to craft. This really isn't a tutorial, but kind of a creating Smaug, enjoy the process with me type video. The only horns that I currently own are these little guys, which are really cute, don't get me wrong. And they are roughly the correct color. But as you can see, I don't really think dragon with just these little guys. I may use these if I want to do a double horn situation where I put this one in the front and another set in the back, but ultimately these aren't gonna cut it as the base. Someone found this free pattern for me from Lumen's workshop that I'm going to use, and it's a small horn pattern, so I'm gonna show it here. And if the camera doesn't like this, then I'll take a picture and show it that way. But I figured these would be a good size for not taking up too much space on the frame, as well as wanting to make sure I can get close enough to show some of the smaller details that matter much more in a picture like this. Try to phone craft them. And if I still feel like they're a little too small, I'm going to maybe use my projector to make them a bit bigger and trace that way. And then my backup plan is to just Photoshop them on, much like the contacts. But I really would prefer to see if I can make them in reality and use this as a base for some other potential, or at least rule out that this is something I don't want to do again. So anyway, off to crafting. I'll give you little snippets here and there and kind of the full assembling of the look and maybe some behind the scenes of the pictures I take. And of course, the final pictures, I will try to share some here, but also I will absolutely link to the collaboration post that we all put together so you can see not only the creature that I have made, or the cosplay that I've made, but also all of the hard work that others have made. So that being said, let me go grab my foam crafting supplies and get started. Just going to try to get a quick size test for this. Just seeing roughly how big it's gonna end up. Putting these on. Okay, I'm actually pretty happy with that sizing. Yeah. I like that sizing a lot. Cool, we're going with it. So taking a quick pause on the construction as I needed to pick up a few things for this project. And you may be thinking, Ash, why are you at a pet store? And that's a valid question. I also needed to pick up some things for my pets. The Michaels that I need to go to is right next door, and they moved stuff on me in here. They moved my dog's food aisle over, and that threw me off. Mission achieved. Now to make my wallet cry. Pets are expensive. Target number 2. So despite their website saying they have both plasti dip and foam clay, I cannot seem to find either. But this seems to maybe work for what I need. We're gonna try it. Ultimately, this project doesn't call for a ton of really intensive things, so we'll see if these work. While I was here, I thought I could take a peek at their new fabric section. Obviously, Michaels has always had fabrics, but since Joann's went away, they had seemingly taken over in that department. So there's definitely an increased amount of fabric here. But I do feel like it's still pretty severely lacking for being Joann's in-person substitute. So I think I'll probably still have to order stuff online, but you know, especially if you like quilting or non-apparel options, there is still a pretty decent selection. Alrighty, finished up my errands. Really what I thought I was going to be able to get away with things that I had at home for this project and not have to buy anything, but I firstly needed contact cement. I did have 2 bottles of this. The one I realized was empty. The other one was pretty close to empty, so I should have had enough. However, insert footage here of me struggling. It has glued itself shut over time. Fortunately, I have had that for a while, so I did get the use out of it. And like I said, there was pretty minimal left anyway, so I don't feel too bad with this purchase because I'm sure I'll use it again. And then I needed both foam clay as well as plasti dip. I realized that the foam clay that I had to toss a while back because it like expired in the sense that it got like liquidy and also firm. And so I couldn't actually manipulate it anymore. And I also need plasti dip because the ones that I had, I realized that I had left out since my last project. And my last project was probably like this time last year, which means it spent a whole winter outside. And insert here just how sun faded that is, realize it's probably not safe to use and or just completely unusable. The problem is Michaels, despite saying that it had those things, did not have either, and I checked a handful of different places. So what I ended up getting was this craft foam. I'm really curious about how this works. I wanted the foam clay to fill in any gaps from the contact cement process and the seam lines. So theoretically, this will be able to achieve that. And then I'm gonna try to use it as a replacement for the plasti dip. I don't know if it'll work in the sense that you have to maybe use it with the straw fully. I don't know if you can use it without the straw. And if I do have to use it with the straw, this probably is not gonna work super well. I genuinely don't know if this is gonna work. But luckily this is just for like a single photo shoot that I don't need like aggressive details for. So if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm not super worried about it. It just means that hopefully this solves the problem of the foam clay and I can make a point to find the plasti dip again later. So headed home now. I'm going to glue everything together and then try to fill in the seams with this and see how long it takes to dry so that I can sand it down and start with the painting process. I'm hoping to get as much as I can done today, but I also really depends on how long the drying process takes for this. So I assembled the horns with all of the supplies that I got and tried out a couple of different things, and I'm pretty happy with where I've landed with them. So since you last saw the update on them, which they're now covered in dog fur, much like my stairs, they are fully assembled and textured. So it's really interesting. The craft foam that I used came in like a spray bottle. And so I had the intention of using it similarly to the foam clay and like just filling the things, the like seam lines. But as soon as I used it, I realized that was going to be extremely unwieldy and not actually work for my purposes. So I instead just straight up covered the horns entirely with it. It's sandable, so I went worst comes to worst, I can sand all of it off. But it left this really, let's see which one I like better. Let's go with this one. It left this really neat texture on it, which I really like, especially for Smaug, who has been living inside, you know, a cave system basically, which means over time his horns would just be scraping on rock and debris and everything. So I feel like this little bit of extra texturing feels accurate to how long he has spent underground. So I just sanded stuff down a little bit just so that it was a little bit more shapely, because especially this one, which I just overkilled on, they weren't quite horn shaped anymore, or at least they kind of had weird side things. So sanded them down so that they still had the same shape again, and then added a little bit of like depth with, you can kind of see these lines, they're a little cut. So next is painting, and I'm going to really do kind of, I don't know, I'm gonna mix some colors together. I realized I'm very low on my like straight red paint, so I'm probably going to use some combinations of other reds or things and browns to try to get a deep kind of lived in color for it. We shall see, but the construction's complete, and honestly pretty happy with how they turned out. So off to painting.
What about the moida? They'll never have that.
They're done, minus attaching them to my head. But these were definitely a trust the process type build. So the way I painted them is I did a base layer of red, which was harder than it needed to be because I didn't realize I was very low on red. So I had to scavenge from a couple of different paint sources, including like a paint by number thing that was mostly dried out, and then tried to mix it with some other colors to help stretch it, plus a little bit of water. I think it worked pretty well though. And then I went over that and did some of the texturing with a umber color, kind of like a brownish hue. And then I had mixed that a little bit with the remaining red that I had. Didn't really like that color, so I ended up going in with just the pure color to get a little bit of depth. Then I mixed that color with a gold, and I did the portions in a way that the umber took over a lot of the priority, so it still had a little bit of a shimmer, but it was still that dark color. And I ended up going back into the grooves with that just because I felt like it just wasn't hitting the right vibe. But then I also took that color and brushed it all over the back and brought it a little bit towards the side and center. And then I just took the straight gold color and put that down the front and did the same thing but the opposite way and kind of fanned it out to the side. So for a one-day build, I am honestly pretty impressed with myself on these. Maybe I'll get a little bit closer footage, you can see a little bit, but honestly the light is hitting the shine so well. The last thing I really have to do with these is just create an attachment point on the bottom so that I can wear them. I did something similar, so let me go grab. So when I made these for my Hela cosplay, I really just took these little hair clips and glued them on the bottom, and they were fairly effective. So I'm wondering if I can just do this same exact approach. I'll probably wear them like here-ish, I don't know. I'll see which position makes the most sense, but the nice thing about doing these with this sort of clip is that I have a lot of versatility in how I can wear it. So I'm gonna leave this to dry overnight, and then I will need to put this together in the next few days. Today is Friday. I have until, I believe, Tuesday to get my look in, so I should have plenty of time considering this is really the only thing I had to craft. The rest is just adding some accessories, which means a lot of gold. While I'm here, since my wardrobe is directly behind me, this is the outfit that I will be wearing with the look. So it kind of has this cross in the front, which I think is just gonna add. So we get this, we got these, and we got the makeup. So without further ado, let's go. Oh, hello again. It's me, back in the car, driving again, which means still need something for this cosplay. Again, I thought I had a thing that I have seemingly either misplaced or gotten rid of, which is fishnets. If you've ever done any sort of makeup with scales, be that a mermaid or a siren or a dragon in this case, you would know that applying the makeup look of scales tends to be the easiest by using a fishnet to space things out for you when you just apply the color in between. So I am headed to the Holy Land, otherwise known as Hot Topic, to get a pair or two of fishnets. So I'm getting this today. I've already kind of accepted that I'm going to film everything tomorrow, take pictures tomorrow, and in terms of timeline, I did not do much yesterday, which was Saturday, except just start editing the video. And today is Sunday, so going to grab these, going to do makeup tests, and I'm going to steam the backdrop that I selected for this, so that hopefully tomorrow is just a creative day and I don't have to do any of the testing besides, you know, making sure the camera is set up well, and yeah, going from there. So join me for a mini side adventure to Hot Topic, where I hopefully will not purchase anything else. I will not purchase anything else. Not at all. Hold me to that. I don't care that this video has already come out. Just hold me to the fact that I'm not going to purchase anything else. And if I do, it's on you guys. Sorry. It is on you. It's not on me. I didn't do anything wrong. And there she is. Okay, so I did achieve my goal of getting 2 different sizes of fishnets. I did not achieve my goal in not getting an additional item, so once I get to my car, I will show you my additional item, because it's pretty damn cute, and I was getting pressured into buying more for more time off, or more percentage off, and I did not fold into that, so I just got 1 additional thing, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, 1 additional purchase. But aren't these cute? From Haku from Spirited Away. Let me try putting them on. Okay, but these are super cute, right? Look. I love a good dragon. I'm making a dragon themed video. If in terms of impulse purchases, I feel like at least this is a thematic one. So I have acquired the thing I meant to acquire though, which is 2 sizes of fishnets. I got these. And then I also got these, which I think are socks, but they had a slightly smaller size. So I'm gonna play around with both. Worst comes to worst, they're gonna just add to my cosplay closet for something else, but Gonna drive home now and continue on and not buy anything else. Today is shoot day. Insert sparkles and a fire fade out. And if those things are not there, then I didn't know how to do it, and I didn't care enough to make it happen. On the agenda today, I have to steam the backdrop I'm going to use, so steamer here, backdrop stands here, backdrop, that's what it's called here. So for the backdrop, I have this guy that I'm gonna use. So we have this gradient from this darker blue into this like heavily gold. I feel like that's going to work super well to kind of simulate a dark cave and gold across the bottom. And I'm actually gonna set the backdrop up outside for pictures because one, there is no physical space inside my house to both set it up and shoot at it without moving a bunch of things around, and I don't have that in me today. And two, then I don't have to actually set up any lighting. I can hopefully just take advantage of the natural light, and my yard gets enough natural but slightly filtered light from trees that I am hopeful that it will work. Yes, it'll work. Once this is steamed, I am going to then go around my house and collect a bunch of gold pieces for prop design, prop and set design. And I realized that I have a gold scale mail like chest piece that I've made that I realized will work great for this. Smaug is described as having like a gold encrusted underbelly from laying on all his gems, so I think that'll be a nice nod to that. Then it is makeup time and shoot time. So wish me luck. My shoulders are about to be in for a fun workout today, which I'm very excited about. That's the part I'm most excited about, of course. Let's get to steaming. Magic. We are steamed. It is not perfect. There's still some crinkles, but most of that shouldn't show up on camera based on the fact that I don't really see it there. Yeah, that's just how the clip's holding it. So I feel like we're good. All steamed. My shoulders are slightly sore now, but we are ready for the next step. In terms of what I need for coverage, I double checked trying on the dress that I'm going to be wearing. And I'm gonna add, I have these scale mail pauldrons as well as this like these fabric-y scale bracers. So really I want to cover the rest of the area that is not covered by clothing in some capacity, which really is just here to here on both my arms. So I think I'm gonna try out the idea that I have for scales on those sections first, and then if I like that, then I will replicate that onto face. Well, it's time for me to get real snuggly and close because I did my first arm and I love the results. So let me show you up close. I feel like this is gonna work great for the purpose that I am doing. So gotta replicate on this arm now and then face. So magic transition into other arm being done. Arm 2. I realized that my hands will also be exposed, so I think the last step I'm gonna do with makeup is actually the top of my hands. But in the meantime, time to dragon it up here. Just ready to throw a silly little thing over my head. This not be super even, like front of my brow. let's see what we are working with. Oh my god. Yeah, I should have unclipped it first. Dramatic reveal ruined. Okay. Actually worked a little better up here than I thought. I was considering going in with an additional gold and filling in a little bit, so I'm gonna try that and see if some of these more, I'll call them dead areas, can be filled in with color. But I think once I have eye makeup on and lip on, I think it'll come together even a little better than what I have going on here. I'm not loving it right now, but I also think that's because I don't have the full look together. And I'm hoping that'll help solidify. I think I'm gonna remove a little bit on the bridge of my nose. I just feel like it's a little bit too forward and I want this area a little more exposed. So I'm gonna go pause and do that really quick and then figure out how and where I wanna go in more or if I'm content with where things are. Okay, I went upstairs and cleaned it up a little bit in just certain spots that I felt like there was too much going on. And then I added some to my neck as well. I realize I tend to be unhappy with a look when it's just kind of at this stage, especially when I don't have anything done with the eyes yet. I feel like that's what's being drowned out right now. And then I'm going to have lip color on, which I think is gonna help as well. So I'm not gonna record the whole process of finishing up the look. Let's do this transition this time. Ready? Okay, I am done with the makeup, and as suspected, I like it a lot more now that the eye makeup and the lip color is on. Okay, so I am pretty content with where things stand. So the next step for me is curling my hair. Outfit on, we are in the home stretch for this one. Okay, this is the finished look. We're gonna ignore that. It's a still picture. These don't have to stay up on a video very long. So this is where we landed. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I forgot that I had pauldrons that I could use and a belt that I could use, so extra shiny. And while this isn't a spot that's on like my chest area, there is like a spot of vulnerability, so I can be slain, maybe. Unclear. Let me just fix this. All right, so now it is time for me to move these things outside along with the golden-esque props that I found and see if we can get a couple of good pictures. But ultimately, for a primarily Kha'Zix cosplay with the assembly of horns, not bad. Let's go take some pictures. Okay, just doing a final look through of all the pictures to make sure I feel like I have a couple that I like. I really only need one for the collab post, but Obviously, I'm done up, so I wanted to have a couple more to add or just for me. So let's see. I think I got enough, so going to clean this stuff up and then clean myself up now that I am absolutely bedecked in glitter. Actually, it doesn't look as bad on camera as it does in real life, but I honestly, do you want to see what that fun sound is before we go in? What you making?
Bracelets. Bracelets.
I was expecting like slightly more than that, but it's fine.
Oh, like arm rings, like a Norse arm ring. Sorry.
We have very different hobbies. Okay, I'm gonna pack this shit up, bring it inside. I'm not gonna record it because I would like to stop recording until I'm cleaned up. Actually, I was gonna make some TikTok videos. Maybe I'll do that real quick. I'm still set up. Why not? And with much ado, towards Smaug the Magnificent.
Come now. Don't be shy. Step into the light.
Here is the final image for the collaboration post itself. I'm gonna pop up the before picture here just to show you some of the changes that I did make in post-production. So big picture, I warmed up the image and I darkened the background a bit and added a little bit of a vignette on the edges. SFX work was really adding the dragon wings and updating the eyes. A couple of small tweaks. I removed some hair distractions, updated the dragon egg color from copper to gold, and elongated my nails. And I'm also gonna pop up here the other 5 images that I selected. I will include these either on their own standalone post or 1 or 2 additional in the collaboration post as well. And you can see that none of these actually had the dragon wings on them. I kept it off those images just because I wasn't in love with the final results and I didn't really have the time or bandwidth to make them happen how I'd like to. So I think the next time that I cosplay a dragon, adding wings as part of the preparation process is definitely on the table because I just feel like they're gonna add that extra level. Overall though, I am very proud about how these images turned out and how this cosplay turned out in general. It's reminded me that I've come a very long way in my crafting skills, my cosplay skills, makeup skills, self-portraits, and editing. So it's really cool to see that kind of culmination of work all together. So I do have a few fun projects coming up and Ren Fair season is going to be kicking off in full very soon. So hopefully I have some new videos coming out with slightly sooner than the gap between the last one and this one. And if you could be so kind to like and subscribe to let me know that you'd like to see more of these videos. And in the comments, let me know who your favorite fantasy dragon is and or who you would join as if we did another Lord of the Rings, The Hobbits style collaboration like this one. Stay whimsical, my friends.